The Knicks and the Los Angeles Clippers meeting for the second and final time this regular season. And we are set for the introduction of the starting lineups.
And the New York Knicks. Here are today's starting lineups. First for the Clippers, at guard at 6'6" from Miami of Ohio, number 4, Ron Harper. At guard at 6'3" from St. John's, number 13, Mark Jackson. At forward at 6'10" from Kansas, number 5, Danny Manning. At forward at 6'8" from UCLA, number 55, Kiki Vandeweghe. And at center at 7 feet from LSU, number 53, Stanley Roberts. The trainer is Keith Jones. The assistant coaches R.C. Buford, John Hammond, and Quinn Snyder. And the head coach, Larry Brown. And now, please welcome your New York Knicks. At guard at 6'6" from Kansas State, number 20, Rolando Blackman. At guard at 6'2" from UNLV, number 50, Greg Anthony. At forward at 6'10" from Pittsburgh, number 54, Charles Smith. At forward at 6'9" from Virginia Union, number 34, co-captain Charles Oakley. And at center at 7 feet from Georgetown, number 33, co-captain Patrick Ewing. The head trainer is Mike Saunders, assistant trainer Tim Wolf, assistant coaches Dick Harder and Jeff Van Gundy, and the head coach of the Knicks, Pat Riley.
And there is Mark Jackson, one-time New York Knick, played here with the Knicks for 5 seasons before going to L.A. in the deal involving Charles Smith and Doc Rivers. Earlier, John talked with Mark and asked his feelings about making the return to the Garden.
I would have to say very strange. It's awkward being in New York City, being in Madison Square Garden and putting on another jersey besides a Knick one. And it hasn't hit me yet, but when we go out on the floors as 2 separate teams, it's going to be very strange. But I just want to say thank you to the fans of New York for all the support that they've given me throughout the course of the years. And it's going to be a great time.
Mark Jackson, who received, I would have to say, mixed reaction, but with the disclaimer that Mark was the second player introduced on the public address. Had he been the last, and I don't think the Knicks looked to give the opposition that emotional lift. And you can point to when the Chicago Bulls are here, John, because Michael Jordan is never introduced last, and I think there's a purpose to that.
Yes, the last player introduced usually gets the biggest ovation, and I think the crowd was a little off guard when Mark was all of a sudden out on the court.
Yes, the crescendo build. Is that what we're talking about? All right, a look from our overhead camera, which is brought to you by the Upper Deck Company. Nobody does basketball like Upper Deck. The New York Knicks control the opening tip. Greg Anthony being played by Mark Jackson as you look at the officials for this matinee get-together. Here's Charles Smith, and it's rebounded by Ron Harper.
Well, with the focus so on Mark Jackson, the man with the ball, guarded by the man who backed him up last year, Greg Anthony. The fact remains that the Knicks want to avenge a defeat to these Clippers that the Knicks, feel superior to.
Back on November the 19th at the Sports Arena in Los Angeles, the Clippers beat the Knicks by the score of 101-91, a game that saw Kiki Vandeweghe in the starting lineup, and Larry Brown has done the same here this afternoon. Kiki making only his second start of the season, both against his former club. Here's Harper way off, just to beat the 24. Knicks coming off the home-and-home sweep over the Indiana Pacers. Oh, Ewing changed his mind. Looked like a quarterback trying to spike the ball to stop the clock. And here's Manning. Rebounded by Oakley. Danny Manning had a big one against the Knicks in L.A. 27 points and 10 rebounds. A little over-anxious in terms of looking for his shot, but he came on late. Smith with a finger roll.
It's been an eternity since we have seen a shot by a Knicks big man in that fashion. A scoop, an underneath one-handed scoop.
And away being played by Smith. Stanley Roberts. Out for Mark Jackson. Here is Manning. And the game is tied at 2.
Well, Danny Manning is so difficult to guard because he hurts you from wherever he is, including long range, as he just demonstrated to Charles Oakley.
Blackman played by Harper. Here's Blackman for 3. And the ball goes to the Clippers. The Clippers last played Wednesday night at home. They knocked off the Celtics 105-99. Boston Celtics having themselves a lovely time on the road. Jackson all the way, rejected, but he was fouled by Anthony.
That game was the first time the Clippers have beat Boston in L.A. in 16 tries.
Roberts putting the move on Ewing. And Blackman able to handle the rebound. Clippers in the game on Wednesday had 16 blocked shots, 13 in the first half, a Clipper franchise record. Here's Ewing. Rebound Oakley. Ewing, yes, met by Vandeweghe on the switch, and the Knicks lead 4-2.
Well, Mark Jackson himself couldn't have done that any prettier than Anthony did. The nice bounce pass to the pick and roll.
Oakley with the steal. Wild pass, throwing in a crowd. Here's Jackson. Well, he tried the teardrop on the rebound, able to connect. And the game is tied at 4.
Nicely done by Mark. He knew Oakley was in the way, and he went around and underneath him.
Blackman passing on the 3. Anthony, yes. Well, Greg Anthony has been hitting his shot. That's the case the last 2 games against the Pacers, and he was certainly one of the sparks the other night. Vandeweghe not able to hit. Knicks coming from 17 down to win at Indiana. Jackson with the steal and a foul called on Anthony. Jackson was tripped up. Anthony called for his second.
Mark Jackson right on the case, reaching around successfully. Sometimes Greg does not get his body between the ball and the man. Another demonstration of that, and Mark was able to reach around. If Greg had his body in his way, there's no way, in the way of the defense, there's no way Jackson could have gotten that arm around without fouling.
And both Mark Jackson and Greg Anthony have to be so attuned to each other's game from going against each other, not only in practice sessions, but they're watching each other constantly. That's the case last year. Mark Jackson has not played well recently, but overall has done the job. He's averaged 12 points a game, 8 assists over a 5-year Knick career, and with the Los Angeles Clippers, he has been among the leaders in assists right throughout the season.
And in his second season with the Knicks, Mark was an NBA All-Star.
Knicks with a 6-4 lead. 4 minutes gone by. Roberts trying to establish position. Harper run into by Oakley. And here's John Starks coming on.
It looks like Harper took a shot that had an effect which is not going to make he or Larry Brown very happy.
Now Larry Brown taking the timeout. The Knicks 6 and the LA Clippers 4 as the Clippers look to check out Ron Harper. We'll be back in a moment.
One strike to Seitzer with 1 out and 2 men in scoring position. A great play by...
Well, Ron Harper took a shot from Charles Oakley, although it was as gentle a foul as you will see committed by a big man. And Harper went down and was shaken up on the play. Seemed to hurt his shoulder, but he's back after the timeout and looking fine and ready to shoot his foul shots.
Charles Oakley, the subject of much discussion the past couple of days, a $10,000 fine levied yesterday against Charles by the NBA, which angered Knicks president Dave Checketts, who said the fine was unwarranted, unfair, and made the suggestion that the league was out to get Charles Oakley because of Charles' well-earned reputation, we should point out, as being very aggressive, and the Knicks also a very aggressive physical ball club. Mark Jackson called for that foul on John Starks. Dave Checketts making the point that the league office able to scrutinize Knicks players unfairly because they see so many Knicks games, which is a point, but on the other hand, this is a very physical, aggressive club at times. Roberts was blocked. Roberts again, and rebounded by Ewing, and here's Starks ahead of the field. The Knicks lead by the score of 8-5. The fine centered around Oakley's third quarter collision with Reggie Miller, in which a foul was not called on the play. But Charles was hit with the $10,000 fine, and he has been a man, though, who has been hit for a number of flagrant fouls. And I think from the point of view of Rod Thorne from the NBA office, as Vandeweghe was fouled by Smith, John, in my opinion, that might have been the wrong play to levy such a deep fine, but I can't criticize Rod for trying to make the message known to Charles Oakley and the Knicks that, hey, you got to cut out the flagrant fouls.
Well, it's been a pattern as far as Thorne feels, and in that particular case, pattern meaning the Knicks fouling and their rough style of play. And as regarding that particular play on Reggie Miller, he felt it was a blatant disregard for another player's safety, in his words. And the league has been getting more and more sensitive to hard fouls, which have been continuing, despite warnings, despite the use of the word flagrant, which has become part of every game now. You've got to get tougher, and it may appear to be unfair. And I guess it will go before the commissioner. That's what Dave Checketts is asking for.
Starks lost it. It's the Knicks 8 and the Clippers 7. 5 minutes gone by in the first quarter. Well, the Knicks point of view is that, hey, how could you fine a guy as Manning turns and shoots when there wasn't even a foul called on that particular play? We'll get a look at that play again when we get an opportunity. Blackman way off, and Harper able to get to it. 6:40 remaining in this first quarter. Harper lost the handle, but it was deflected out. And it will be Clipper ball with 16 on the 24. I think it's Phil Jackson's comments before the Knicks played in Chicago last week. Harper will go to the line once again. And Oakley is called for the foul. His second. Ken Norman getting set to come on for the Clippers. And it's all part of the coaches trying to get calls, little coachees going on back and forth. But Phil made the point, and also coming from Phil, it's really strange because here's a guy who was as physical a player as you could find, and a guy who would hurt his own teammates in practice by accident with elbows, and that a la Bill Cartwright. But Phil said, hey, you know, the Knicks commit a foul every time there are defense. So the officials can only call certain fouls. That's similar to the thought of the old Philadelphia Flyers in the NHL when they were the bad boys of hockey. People would say, well, they get away with so much because you can't call penalties every time they step on the ice.
Meanwhile, Charles Oakley just sat down to a very, very enthusiastic response by the fans.
Double team on Ewing. Goes with the drop step. It's also intriguing to see Pat Riley at the other end of the spectrum. Vandeweghe was bottled up. I mentioned this the other day. Pat at one time, coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. They win 4 championships going up against a very aggressive Detroit Pistons squad. And he'd be the one complaining about the Pistons because he had a finesse ball club at the time. Anthony Mason giving the Knicks a 1-point lead. And now, because of the personnel, Pat has a very rugged ball club. Now, some opponents would say there's some thuggery involved too, but they are a very physical, aggressive team. Sweeping hook missed by Roberts, but he's able to rebound and hit.
Very nicely done by Stanley Roberts, who continues to develop. And speaking with Larry Brown before the game about his future, he said, I think he's going to be a terrific player, real good.
Ewing will go to the line. The Clippers 11, the Knicks 10 with 5:20 remaining. In this first quarter, Roberts called for his first, and Ewing to the line for the first time. Patrick Ewing did not see much action the other night in Indianapolis, only 19 minutes because of foul trouble, but Herb Williams came on and did a terrific job. Once again, as it turned out, Ewing's presence was not missed.
And Patrick right now is showing the side effects of being out so much the other night. He's having a little difficulty recapturing the fine touch he has had lately. The last several games, he's been shooting the ball very well.
The Knicks and the Clippers are tied at 11. Ewing stepping out on Jackson. Here is Vandeweghe for 3.
Now, you know how that must feel for Kiki Vandeweghe to do that right in front of the Knicks bench.
Kiki Vandeweghe, 37% from three-point land this season. That's his 11th three-pointer of the year. Clippers lead 14-11. And Jack Madden with the call against the Clippers, away from the ball. It's on Vandeweghe.
Well, Charles Smith, as he does to most players who guard him who are smaller, is posting him up, and he's trying to get the attention of the Knicks players to get him the ball. And Vandeweghe's doing a very physical type job on trying to get in front of Smith, and he committed the foul.
3 seconds.
Blackman. Mason getting inside. Roberts and Jackson. That pass from Norman overthrown. And Jack Madden looking for help on the call. Last touch by Starks is the decision. Hoffer will throw in. LA Clippers at 15-11. They are 5th in the Pacific Division, a half game behind the Los Angeles Lakers. Roberts using his bulk, but not able to make the move on Ewing, who got a piece of it, and Roberts lost it.
Well, that's part of the Knicks' defensive pressure they hope to exert every time a team has the ball. Not a pretty play for the Clippers, but the Knicks are happy with the difficulty they caused.
Again, Smith posting up on Vandeweghe, drew the foul. The basket counts, and the hack is on Vandeweghe.
When Charles Smith works so hard down low to get the ball, his teammates have got to respond and get him the ball. And that's what he's been doing. He finally gets the ball, and he's so much bigger than Kiki Vandeweghe, and he's got the fine touch, which he demonstrates.
Vandeweghe sitting down, replaced by Manning. Smith gunning for his 5th point. 3-point play for Charles Smith, and he's tied the game at 14. Jackson putting the move on Starks. Look out as Starks went flying along with Jackson, and a foul is called on Starks.
Well, Mark Jackson working on his old buddy John Starks, who gets in front of Mark. John did a good job, but Mark drew the foul. I don't think any guard protects the ball, speaking of that subject, better than Mark Jackson does. He doesn't have super speed, NBA-style speed, but his use of his body is what separates him from the fast guys, and that he gets the job done just as well because he protects the basketball with his body and gets people to commit fouls as a result.
Mark Jackson is officially now the enemy. Crowd turning on Mark as he got set for the free throw. Gary Grant, who has played well as of late, has come on for the first time. Grant against the Celtics on Wednesday night had a season-high 10 assists. So Grant and Jackson in the backcourt. Clippers lead 16-14 with 3:40 remaining in this first quarter. Blackman going short. Air ball by Rolando, handled by Norman.
He asked his body to do too much. He got there and with speed got the ball at the moment he got there and tried to get it up successfully, and he needs a little more time.
Through the hands of Jackson. That pass difficult to handle. Last touch by the Knicks. Clippers will have 14 on the shot clock. I enjoyed Mark Jackson's answer to your question about the possibility of trash talk. Roberts getting away from Ewing and slamming in the face of Smith.
He's such a heavy guy. He can move. He's quite agile.
He borders around 300, goes 7 feet. Here's Smith from deep. And Roberts was able to keep Ewing off the boards. Clippers by 4 and with the ball. Grant feeding Manning. Here's Mason with Jackson back. Goes around him. Rebound Manning.
Successful move by Mark. He made him settle for less.
Look away from Jackson feeding Grant. Here's Norman. Oh, the Clippers on a good run, and Pat Riley will talk it over. Clippers 20, the Knicks 14, 2:36 remaining in this first quarter.
Well, 7-foot Stanley Roberts showed an interesting move going around Patrick Ewing. Charles Smith made a swipe, wisely didn't get in the path of the 300-pound center, and Stanley succeeded with a slam dunk.
Ron Harper back, replacing Mark Jackson, who leads with 4 points. Grant hounding Starks, 6 consecutive points by the Clippers, and they lead 20-14 with 2:25 remaining in this first quarter. Shot clock at 3. Good feed. Blackman finding Ewing, and it's a 4-point Clipper lead.
So nice to see Ewing put a ball up like that, a layup, without trying to slam it down or rip the rim down like so many players do.
Hubert Davis getting set to check in. Early entrance by Davis. Just under 2 minutes remaining in this first quarter. And the call against the Clippers. Offensive foul. Illegal pick. Set by Manning. Here's Davis coming on. So Davis for Blackman. Doc Rivers, as you see, back in uniform, missed the last 2 games with the shoulder injury. Says not too certain about his shooting ability, although he is available. Ewing. And the rebound handled by Manning. Roberts. Nice move again by Stanley Roberts. Very active in the early going. He has 6 points.
Well, Larry Brown told me before the game when he and John Williams, who we'll see before too long, I'm sure, finally get their weight where it should be, this team is going to be a lot tougher than it is now.
But you wonder if they will get the weight where it should be, because it's never happened in the playing career of Stanley Roberts. John Williams at 1 point. Harper is called for the foul. 1 point earlier in his career, was in decent shape, but you wonder if he'd be able to get back into it.
Well, in the case of Stanley Roberts, Marv, it's an unusual challenge for him. He's a very easygoing guy, and whatever motivates him will not be money, because he's got about $18 million in the contract right now. So it's going to have to be personal. For Roberts, in the case of John Williams, he's got a long way to go contract-wise, but he also has the most individual talent on this team. Larry Brown told me again before the game that John Williams is without a doubt the most talented player he's ever coached.
And John Williams makes his way onto the floor. Now, in your case, John, you have problems shedding the weight. I mean, once you put it on, I know you had trouble.
Well, I got it off, and I'm in great shape.
It's crazy now. But we will see what kind of shape you're in. I know you'll be taking part in the NBA Knicks Legends game, which follows the Knicks and the Clippers. Wearing number 54. And you know, for my money, you belong in that lineup with Earl Monroe and Dave DeBusschere and Dick Barnett.
Well, you heard me talking to Earl before. He agreed.
Patrick Ewing is called for the foul with 40 seconds remaining in this first quarter. Earl Monroe, despite the 2 hip operations, says he will be in action in the Legends game. But you made the point to Earl, which, you know, he smiled, but I don't think you really appreciate hearing it from you. Earl working the radio side this afternoon along with Mike Green on the Madison Square Garden network, and Earl will be joining Al at halftime. Game, incidentally, will not be televised. I guess that decision came after the announcement that you would be taking part.
Now, you were saying Earl didn't appreciate what?
No, he did not appreciate the fact that you mentioned to him, you know, the hips may hurt, so you're always available for the pass. I know that Earl doesn't necessarily have to shoot the ball.
Get me the ball, Earl, and everything will be fine. That's all I say. Gracefully smile.
We will have taped highlights, though, of the Legends game during the course of the next couple of days. Starks was rebuffed, and apparently Williams, trying to come up with it, stepped on the baseline. It will be Nick Ball with 20 seconds remaining. This is the 20th anniversary celebration of the Knicks' 1973 NBA championship, which is being marked by the 4th annual Sharp Electronics Knicks Legends game, which will follow today's Clipper game at the Garden. Hall of Famer Red Holzman will be your coach, John. Handling the Knicks squad, Tommy Heinz, another Hall of Famer by way of Boston, will be handling the other squad. Oh, nice move. Pretty ball fake by Grant. Clippers by 6. Time winding down here in the first quarter. 10 seconds to go. They double up on Starks. Oakley from deep. Here's Hopper. Three-quarter court. At the end of 1, the Los Angeles Clippers 24 and the New York Knicks 18. Back to the subject of Charles Oakley, who was hit with that $10,000 fine for this particular play. You see Reggie Miller going flying this Wednesday night at Market Square in Indianapolis, and no foul was called on it. And the chief of officials for the NBA, Darryl Garretson, one of those on hand as a member of the crew. Dave Checketts very upset about the $10,000 fine. With this statement, as we mentioned earlier, he felt that the Knicks are being unfairly scrutinized, and he's asked to appeal the fine and has asked for a hearing from NBA Commissioner David Stern.
When you look at that angle, you see Charles step up, lean in to Miller, and probably that's what Rod Thorne reacted to.
Manning off the steal, and Oakley gets to it. Second quarter underway. Greg Anthony has returned. Knicks 7 of 22. Clippers 8 for 20 in that opening quarter. Knicks have a backcourt of Davis and Anthony. And handled by Manning. Norman in the open floor. And he was hacked by Davis. Herb Williams coming on for the first time, replacing Patrick Ewing, who leads with 5 points, 2 out of 7 from the field. Herb Williams having the outstanding game against his former club, the Indiana Pacers, on Wednesday night.
Marv, on the subject of Davis, I thought it was interesting that Dale Davis of Indiana, who fouled John Starks flagrantly the other night. Rod Thorne also thought that Davis, after being severely fined, should have been ejected from the game, in his opinion. It was interesting that the chief of the officials, or the chief of the officiating staff, Darryl Garretson, was one of the officials working that game. Interesting statement by Rod out of the front office.
Things may heat up at NBA offices the next couple of days. Maybe some closed-door meetings. Mason on the recovery, and a foul is called. Anthony Mason will go to the line. He was fouled by Danny Manning. So Mason to the free throw line. You could make arguments about the up and down side of being in the same city where the league office is. I know in the Knick glory days, Red Holzman always used to complain that certain officials, and this is also, you could categorize it as playing the office and playing the officials too, but he felt the Knicks did not get the benefit of the doubt in terms of calls because officials would be trying to impress the league office in making critical calls at home at Madison Square Garden to show that they had enough nerve to make big calls against the home team, and he felt they wouldn't get the calls at times. Now that can also be called propaganda and coaches, it depends the way you want to look at it, but you can understand psychologically where he might have a point. Here's Mason. Rebound Oakley. And a foul called against the Clippers.
Well, it's all under the title of living in the Big Apple. When things go well, it's the greatest. But when they aren't going well, the difficulties and the weight of the negative things seem to be a little heavier than in other places.
Roy Vaughn just checked in, was called for that foul, and Charles Oakley to the line.
With all the focus on the foul situation with Charles, meanwhile, he was in many ways the heart of the Knicks comeback in Indiana the other night. From down 17 in the third quarter, the team with Patrick Ewing on the bench in many ways was led by Charles, I felt. And we saw that once before in Indiana with Ewing in foul trouble. Charles has also performed similarly in the past there.
Clippers 25, the Knicks 20. Just underway in the second quarter. Marv Albert, John Andres, Al Troutwood, Earl Monroe for Walt Frazier from Madison Square Garden. Harper try to back in. This is Vaughn. Air ball. Handled by Mason.
Good challenge on the defense, making that shot difficult for Vaughn. It bothered him.
Anthony working against Grant. Oakley played by Norman. Williams diagnosed it, and it's deflected out by Oakley.
Say, look at the size of John Williams. That he could make a play like that shows you how quick he is despite his girth.
John Williams, an oddity in the league in that when he's at his best, he can play all 5 positions, including center, as he did in college. Grant able to drill it home. His second field goal. Clippers lead by 7. First field goal of the quarter with 2:40 gone by. First field goal for either team. Charles Smith getting set to return. Here's Davis. He went around Williams.
Boy, he picked his way through those red shirts.
Clippers 27, Knicks 22. Grant met by Herb Williams. Last touch by the Knicks. Now Charles Smith returns, as does Mark Jackson. Jackson replacing Harper. Harper with 3 points. And Mark Jackson now will be guarded by the rookie Hubert Davis. Jackson and Grant in the backcourt. Offensive foul. Grant called for his first.
Not many players can do it against a guard. When the guard starts dribbling the ball, to get your feet moving quicker than his, Greg Anthony draws the foul with his quick feet.
Mason set the pick. Smith posting. Davis. Yes. Gilbert Davis hitting the jump shot over Mark Jackson. Davis with 6 points, and the Knicks are within 3. Jackson off the screen. Rebound Mason. Anthony. Oh! And Vaughn gets it down to Grant for Jackson. Oh, he went with a teardrop off glass. Nicely done by Mark Jackson.
Nice preliminary also in that move.
Clippers 29, the Knicks 24. John Williams guarding Anthony Mason.
shot.
Herb Williams called for the loose ball foul. Stanley Roberts checking back in. With the combination of Grant and Jackson at the guards, Larry Brown going with Grant as the true point guard. Anthony got picked off. Grant. Davis on the run. Clippers got back. Davis goes right to the hoop with the left hand. Rebound. Davis picked off. Oh, intercepted by Anthony. However, Norman stepped out of bounds.
He tried to, Anthony caught that ball well, and then with the attempt by the Clippers to slam it off Anthony, well, we'll get another look at it now. Norman tries to slam it off Anthony, who catches it, but then Greg flips it back at Anthony, and that drew a little response, a little anger from Norman.
Here's Williams for Smith. Smith open. Mason with the tip. Anthony Mason soaring to tip it home. Clippers by 3. Norman on a quick release. Smith gets it down to Davis. Eluding Jackson with the behind-the-back save. What a play by Hubert Davis, and he drew the foul. Knicks are flying here the last couple of minutes, and they're hearing it from the crowd. Here's another look at that save.
Kind of ironic that this fancy play happens in front of Mark Jackson. He brought those kind of moves to the Knicks for 5 years. Today, and our Midas bench breakdown numbers show he's getting results 2-1 in favor of the Knicks. Anthony Mason doing a good job. Charles Smith with the long shot, but Mason way up above the rim for that tip in, and boy, his timing was perfect on that.
So Davis to the line for 2. Patrick Ewing is back. The Knicks now with a front line of Ewing, Mason, and Smith. Davis and Anthony in the backcourt. The Knicks are down by 1. Clippers have led by as many as 7. Jackson played by Davis. Norman. Roberts setting up against Ewing. Here's Grant for Roberts. Ewing had to help out. He's trying to pick things up on a double team, and as a result, Roberts open for that lead pass.
Well, when the Knicks review the game tapes, there'll be a lot to say from Pat Riley's standpoint about that play. Nobody came over and filled that hole after Ewing left it.
And Ewing fouled by Roberts. Stanley Roberts called for his second. Stanley Roberts, a first-round draft pick of Orlando last year, came on strong towards the end of the year, averaged 10.5 points per game. He was Shaquille O'Neal's teammate at LSU for 1 year, but the drafting of Shaquille certainly made Stanley expendable.
Stanley sat it out until the numbers got so huge that he had to accept the Clipper job.
Weight numbers or?
No, the dollars.
Oh, I
is
see.
what I'm referring to. Stanley losing his balance after that foul shot. He's an amazingly mobile guy for his size.
Clippers lead 31-30. Halfway through the second quarter. Roberts getting position. And the Knicks upset. They thought it was deflected out by the Clippers. It will be LA ball. Jackson. Davis staying right with him. Jackson with the spin. Nice play by Jackson. Got the roll. He has 8 points. Clippers 33. The Knicks 30. Ewing. He was actually forced as they say, John, off the blocks and still was able to hit. Roberts called for the offensive foul. That's his third foul.
That's the problem for Roberts. As he wheels inside, knocks Ewing down. That was no act. That's a lot of weight hitting. But Roberts' problem is foul trouble. Although the last 2 games, Marv, he's only committed a total of 3 fouls. But it's not uncommon for Roberts to have 5 fouls in a game in under 20 minutes of play.
Clippers by 1. We come up on 5 minutes to go in this first half. Anthony for Ewing to the fadeaway. Hopper on the rebound. Vaught 2-on-1, leading Norman, had to save it. And Anthony got hit by Williams. And fortunately for Greg Anthony, it was a glancing blow. Did not get the full thrust of the body of John Williams.
John Williams trying to get that ball as well. And as you say, Marv, it wasn't the full thrust. Otherwise,
yes, Greg would have been splattered.
It would be an Anthony pancake at half court.
Anthony will go to the foul line with the Clippers over the limit. Anthony, a 67% free throw shooter.
Communication going on between the head coach and the head player for the Knicks right now. It's unusual during a game to see that amount of chatter during a foul shot between Ewing and the coach.
The Knicks and Clippers tied at 33. Williams setting a pick. Ewing stepping out on Jackson. Harper. And kept alive by Vaught. Here's Norman. Rebounded by Ewing. Knicks have not led since early in the first quarter. Game is tied at 33. Clippers have led by as many as 7. And the foul call. Anthony Mason on the foul, and Mason having some words. Mason and Norman got involved.
Mason with great position down low, and he keeps battling with Norman underneath the basket and gives Norman a bit of a shove. No foul called.
Jackson backing Anthony. Hopper. And Ewing with the good box out. Rebound number 7 for Patrick Ewing. Smith vying for position against Vaught. Ewing lost the grip. Here's Norman. So Ken Norman gives the Clippers a 35-33 lead.
Larry Brown loves Ken Norman because he is so consistent and knows what he's getting game in and game out.
Ewing getting down low and not able to hit. He had great position. Here's Hopper with Smith back. And Hopper hits over the former Los Angeles Clipper Charles Smith to give the Clippers a 37-33 lead. Davis. That was deflected by Hopper. Intercepted by Anthony. Smith. Yes. Clippers by 2. And Larry Brown calls for a timeout with 2:47 remaining in the first half.
Play of late, Greg Anthony, that is. He's the subject of our Toyota matchup against his former teammate, Mark Jackson. Mark coming up court earlier this game, but Greg Anthony was right on the case, took that pass out of the air with his quick hands.
Clippers with a 37-35 lead. And John Williams extends to the 4-point advantage with 2.5 remaining in this first half. Anthony for Smith. Ewing having trouble getting position. John Williams doing a nice job fronting Ewing. Now Ewing has to come to the baseline. Knicks had a good run earlier the second quarter, but Clippers settle down. Clippers have led by as many as 7. They've led most of the way. Williams, that made possible off the fake, and the Clippers lead by 6. Clippers going to some half-court pressure. Blackman has come back on, replacing Davis. Here is Rolando. He's been off. 0 for 5 for Rolando Blackman. I mentioned John Williams playing center in college effectively at times. He is matched up here with Patrick Ewing, and he's taking him outside for the jump shot.
Knicks should still work down low to Patrick, though, because Williams doesn't have the length to deal with Ewing.
Bad pass by Blackman. Clippers by 6 as we come up on 1 minute remaining in this first half. Anthony called for the foul, and that is his 3rd. Here's John Starks making his return. John Starks getting involved with Mark Jackson. The excessive trash talk in the earlier meeting in Los Angeles, which led to the benching of John Starks, and Pat Riley also dissatisfied with play of Greg Anthony and Anthony Mason. The benchmark benchings, which, as it ended up, turned things around for the Knicks. Here's Norman. That was a 3-point attempt, and it will be Nick Ball. Your question to Mark before the game. Getting the interesting response. Would he try to goad John Starks into some trash talk? But he said no, he's going to be quiet today, and he has been to this point.
I think he has a genuine affection for John Starks, who, by the way, is going out of his way not to have eye contact with Mark Jackson. Doesn't even want to get tempted.
And a foul called on Harper, his 2nd. Clippers over the limit. Mason to the line. He's 1 of 2 from the line.
Anthony Mason trying to get back into the higher numbers that he has shown earlier this season. His 3 rebounds the other night against Indiana were the lowest board total since game in Portland, when he only had 1 in mid-November. And his numbers have been down a bit lately, in addition to the rebound and the scoring.
Starks tried to draw the foul.
Mason with that rebound, showing he's on target today, though. He's on the verge of an excellent game.
Poor shooting first half for both. 10 seconds remaining in the half. Here's Blackman. 3-second violation call. 7.5 seconds remaining in the half. The Knicks showing only 37 points. The Clippers only 41. Here's Kiki Vandeweghe checking in.
Knicks also showing unofficially, Mark, 30% field goal shooting in the first half. The Clippers 39.
The Knicks 12 of 40 for the 30%. And the Clippers 16 of 42. Hubert Davis back. Charles Smith sits down. And the foul by Ewing. And that puts the Knicks over the limit. Now, Ewing was not trying to give a foul, as he is indicating to Jack Madden, and he felt that it was a very soft call.
Ewing demonstrated what he did, and he put his hands on his teammate, and right away Jack Madden said, that's a foul. And you say the softness is what Patrick is objecting to, because many times harder contact like that is not called a foul.
John Williams, a poor free throw shooter, 53%, but hits the first. And there he is, number 22, Dave DeBusschere, who will be taking part in the Sharp Electronics Knicks Legends game, following the Knicks and the Clippers. Coming up at halftime, Al Troutwood talking with Dave, and another one-time Nick, Dick Barnett. Starks bottled up. That shot waved off. Not a good one for the Knicks at the half. The Los Angeles Clippers on top by the score of 43-37. Mark Jackson with 8 points. He and Stanley Roberts, the high men for the Clippers. Patrick Ewing leading the Knicks with 9. We'll be back in a moment.
It's a special occasion to get a chance to renew old friendships, and that's exactly what Dave DeBusschere and Dr. Dick Barnett get a chance to do today with a bunch of other friends who are in attendance. Dave, this is the 20th anniversary of the 72-73 championship, and 20 years, I mean, it's a landmark. How has time dealt with the memories of those times when you see someone like Dick?
Well, the memories come back very quickly, particularly when you're together in the arena and so on. It was very fond memories, so naturally, and pleasant ones. So you like to bring them back.
Of course, I say Dr. Dick Barnett.
That's
Walt
right.
Frazier's here. You were extremely successful. Earl Monroe's gone on, and he's had a recording business. Is the success of the individual teammates after basketball, Senator Bill Bradley, was that by accident, or did you guys experience something in that time of your lives which led you to be successful in the after basketball life?
No, I think that each of the individuals that I was fortunate enough to play with were very conscious, bright, and hardworking. So there's no with that ingredients, you should succeed if you learn how to talk first.
All right, let's turn to Dr. Barnett. Now, Dick, of course, you know, you're someone who's gone on and achieved something with a lot of hard work and going to school and to make a very special life for yourself. How about your read on what happened in those years? Did it affect the way you are now as a person?
Well, I really think those dynamics of success on the court are really transferable to other skills, and it's really what we try to talk to young players about, that the same kind of sacrifice, determination, and skills can be brought to other dimensions in life, and I think it was just a carryover. And also, regarding your first question, I'm excited anytime I get a chance to see Dave and Bill and Walt and the rest of the guys. We shared so many memories and lived so long together with each other. I think that bond has been established and will carry forth until eternity.
How about everywhere you go in the city? I mean, you know, people who experience that, all they want to do is talk about the championship teams that played here at that time. Has there ever been a time when you said, please, leave me alone about that?
Well, that happens occasionally, but it's always good to be remembered. I think we have set a standard that other Knicks teams have tried to live up to, and I think we've set a very good tradition to build on and go forward in the future.
Now, Dave, the occasion to get together and meet some of the players that you haven't spoken to, seen in a while, is there one guy that you always see with a special gleam in your eyes? It's good to see him. Is there somebody like that?
Red Holzman. No, I enjoy seeing everybody. I really. There's no one really special. It's kind of special when everybody's together as a group, because then the memories come flooding back, and it's wonderful.
How about what Pat Riley and these current Knicks are building here? Obviously, they're locked onto a defensive scheme similar to the way you guys play defense, but yet this club doesn't have the same sort of offensive character of your team. How do you view it?
Well, as much as I've watched him play this year, my only I don't want to say criticism, but what I'd like to see them do more is maybe open it up on the break and get some easy hoops. It doesn't seem like they get a lot of easy hoops. They have to work awful hard for each basket, and you don't see a lot of 3-on-2 breaks and so on, and I'd like to see them do that more.
All right, Dick, let me just get one quick color commentator thought from you about analysis of this team.
Well, I think they have a lot of talent. I think they're going to have to experience some of the very tight situations that we went through, and I think that's a growth process, and I think through that kind of maturation they'll become a better team, not only in the present but in the future.
Well, thank you very much for providing the time here, both of you. Dave DeBusschere, Dr. Dick Barnett. Memories, well, they bring to mind many of them. And we'll get a look at some of the other faces in attendance today at Madison Square Garden. We're at the half. The Knicks are down by 6 to the Clippers of Los Angeles. Stay with us on our daytime coverage on MSG. The Clippers lead the Knicks 43-37. While we were away, the introduction of some of the other members of the Sharp Legends game to be following this Knicks game and to be seen on MSG in a future Knicks telecast. There's Spencer Haywood, Tim Bassett, Dick Barnett there, Danny Wellen. Earl Monroe got perhaps the biggest cheer after Dave DeBusschere right next to him. Johnny Hawkins was here, Tiny Archibald, Bob Love, the Big O, Tommy Heinsohn, Gail Goodrich, who struggled to find his way to be in the right spot at the Garden. He was so used to playing on the floor, I guess he never spent much time in the seats. And one more guy who arrived and is to play in the game, John Andres, who made such a big splash wearing an MSG microphone and making a hoop, as Johnny Hoops will do. Noted Nick announcer Bob Wolf, he was there for that big 5-point in the last 16 seconds comeback the year the Knicks won the championship and reeled off 18 straight wins. Dean the Dream, Tommy Satch Sanders, so involved in the NBA's awareness program. Tommy Heinsohn, who's in town with his wife. A lot of great stories being exchanged back in the hallways of Madison Square Garden. Spencer Haywood, who started his career in the ABA with the Denver Rockets. And Bob Love, who overcame a tremendous stuttering problem and to this day remembers meeting a young kid who listened to the words of Bob Love and dedicated himself to one day making the NBA. His name is Glenn Doc Rivers. All right, back to the topic of today's game at the Garden as Spencer and Bob Love mug for the camera. The LA Clippers scoring brought to you by the Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers, Advantage Jeep and Eagle. Stanley Roberts, Mark Jackson leading the way with 8 points in a low-scoring first half. Williams with 6, Ron Harper with 5, Norman with 5, and Kiki Vandeweghe, who started, also with 5 on 1 of 3 shooting in 9 minutes. As for the New York Knicks, no double digits. Patrick Ewing, 3 of 12, 9 points, 7 rebounds. Hubert Davis, 8 points off the bench. He got 11 minutes. Doc Rivers, who I was told was going to start just prior to the game, did not appear. Mason was 7, Smith was 7. Rebounds even at 27 apiece. The Knicks are shooting 30% from the floor. We'll be back with more of our halftime coverage from Madison Square Garden on the first game of 1993. Courtside at the Garden, halftime, a very frustrated Knick crowd on hand here at the Garden. The Knicks left the floor to some booze. 43-37 is the score. Hall of Famer Earl Monroe filling in for Walt Clyde Frazier today. And Earl, the Knicks really looked like they had a hangover out there in the first half.
Well, it was real tough getting out. I mean, you see Patrick Ewing having a great hard time up underneath with the big body that Stanley Roberts been putting on him. And then they changed it up and put John Williams, another 300-pounder on him. So he's been having a tough time. One of the things that I really noticed that the Knicks shooters have been a little hesitant about taking their open shots, and that's been a big part of why they're down this first half.
Well, we've seen defense take teams off their shots, but not to the 30% level that we've seen from the Knicks so far in the first half. Let's look at some highlights brought to you by Minolta, creators of the world's most responsive SLR cameras, the new Maxim XI series. As Pearl mentioned, Patrick Ewing struggled, 3 of 12 in his 20 minutes for 9 points. However, we'll get a look at some of the success here.
Well, that time Patrick Ewing getting a good pass from Rolando Blackman and laying it in. Nobody around him that time.
And Earl Anthony Mason off the bench, 19 minutes, 7 rebounds, 7 points. We'll watch it, an opportunistic tip in here.
Well, Anthony Mason, great hands, and anytime he gets his hand around the ball, he's going to do wonders with it.
Now, Stanley Roberts, Pearl, played only 14 minutes, but boy, 4 of 9 shooting, 8 points, 3 rebounds. You really sensed his presence out there.
Well, he played very well. This time we see him moving. Well, that's John Williams that time, but Stanley Roberts, we saw take Patrick Ewing on a baseline move and jam it, and that's the most aggressive I've seen him in a couple of years.
And now, as promised, Stanley Roberts. You know, they're so immense, you can easily mistake one for the other.
This time he's got the ball, and this is his baseline move where he goes by Patrick and jams it in.
And then, of course, Mark Jackson's much celebrated return to the Garden. He played 18 minutes, 3 of 6, 8 points, and, of course, a teardrop for everybody to think about the days when he ran the show for the Knicks.
Well, Mark Jackson, again, playing very consistent ball for the LA Clippers, and one of the things that you think about Mark is that he will be a consistent player for you.
All right, time permitting, we'll hear more from Earl the Pearl Monroe in our post-game coverage, but when we come back, it'll be time for the second half with Marvin John.
New York Knicks basketball is brought to you in part by MetLife. Get Met, it pays. By Old Spice Cologne and Deodorant. Old Spice, the winning difference. And by Coca-Cola. Enjoy all the Knicks excitement with Coca-Cola Classic. Can't beat the real thing.
You have the ages of all of the people.
Well, the Los Angeles Clippers, with an 8-2 run to end the second quarter, lead the New York Knicks 43-37. As we head to the second half, neither club shot well in the first half. The Knicks at 30% from the field on 12 out of 40. Clippers 16 for 42 for 38%. Rebounding even, Knicks with 27, led by Ewing, who had 7. Clippers also with 27. And the Clippers with 6 steals, 2 for Mark Jackson.
Dutch boy in the paint, showing the Clippers doing well down low. Stanley Roberts had a fairly solid first half. And fast break points, the Knicks not running. The Clippers better in that department as well. It's a matter of focus and concentration for the Knicks now, and not taking rushed shots. This team is not, that they're facing, is not a super defensive team, so they can patiently attack the Clippers and get nothing but good shots.
And Larry Brown going with the 2 one-time Knicks in the starting lineup, and they will start the second half. Mark Jackson and Kiki Vandeweghe. Kiki making only his second start of the season. The only other start against the Knicks out in L.A. in November. Jackson and Harper in the backcourt. Manning, Roberts, Vandeweghe up front, and a kickball, leg block called on Anthony. So the Clippers get a new 24. Pat Riley going with Patrick Ewing, Charles Oakley, and Charles Smith up front. Rolando Blackman and Greg Anthony in the backcourt. Rolando Blackman an 0 for 5 in the first half. Just underway, third quarter, and the Knicks trail by 6. Vandeweghe for 3. He hit one earlier. Knicks have won their last 2 with the home-and-home sweep of the Pacers after losing 2 straight. They're 18-9 on top in the Atlantic. Blackman, not a normal shot for Rolando, but he'll take it.
Well, the outstanding shooters, the people who really feel the ball, can react to the defense that was surrounding him, and he shot one way high so it wouldn't get blocked.
Clippers with a 4-point lead. Manning, that shot altered by the hand of Ewing. Blackman with no hesitation. Rebound, Smith. Smith posting up, had the ball knocked away by Jackson. 2-on-1. Jackson with Harper. Good exchange. And Jackson blew the layup. Anthony. Harper able to get to it. Ron Harper leading the Clippers off the boards. Vandeweghe with the big step. Oh, pretty move by Kiki Vandeweghe.
Kiki showing his normal stuff on a move like that. Knicks need a lot of life now in their game. The place is kind of quiet. The crowd is down a bit. And no reason for the fans to be cheering the way things are going here.
3-on-1. Jackson for Vandeweghe. Blackman got a piece of it, and Jackson able to convert. Clippers lead 47-39.
The Knicks are allowing the Clippers to do what they want pretty much. This league-leading defense hasn't exerted any real pressure on the Clippers. I'm wondering, Marv, you know, I don't get a sense, I don't know if it really applies, but the physical play of the Knicks isn't that noticeable today. They seem to be allowing a lot of stuff to go on.
Here's Harper. Nice reverse. Are you indicating that the fines that have been levied and all the attention may have cut down on that style of play?
Well, I'm wondering, I think they may be a little soft defensively and afraid to have contact with people. That's just an observation, because it seems that the Clippers are flowing up and down and getting shots without being touched, and maybe there is an effect of that in that area. Because friends know when to say when. A reminder from Budweiser. Well, Kiki Vandeweghe, who got his second start of the season, both against the Knicks today, shows the Knicks a very Kiki-like move here a moment ago.
7 points for Vandeweghe. Clippers with their biggest lead of the game. They've hit 3 out of 4 to open up this third quarter. They lead by 10. Smith. And a loose ball foul is called. It's on Vandeweghe. That is his third. Reflecting back to the Indiana game Wednesday night at Market Square, the second half against the Pacers, according to Pat Riley, was the Knicks' best defensive half of the season. Smith had it knocked away by Manning. They took away the Pacers' passing lanes and their cuts. And Pat Riley said the Knicks' first half, on the other hand, against Indiana, their worst defensive performance of the season.
Well, it looks like the Knicks are going to have to perform as they did in the second half the other night, as Ewing shows the touch here. Because they've got to put the clamps on the Clippers and slow them down.
Ewing with 11. Away from the ball, Oakley called for his third. And Harper will throw in. Clippers come off a win over Boston Wednesday night at home. Jackson, line pass, and it's picked off. There's Anthony, 2-on-1, has Ewing with it. And the foul is called. It's on Harper. The basket will not count.
Well, from our upper deck trading card cam, we'll see this thing develop. Patrick Ewing handles the ball, gets it to Anthony. Greg senses the 2-on-1 situation, draws the defense, gives it up wisely to Patrick Ewing, but the foul is called before the basket.
And it is a non-shooting affair. So Anthony was called for that. Harper called for the foul on Anthony as he was releasing to Ewing. Clippers lead 49-41. 4 minutes gone by in the third. Blackman off the pump. Yes. Rolando Blackman with only a second field goal. That's his first true outside jump shot. The other from in close on a running one-hander. And now the crowd trying to get the Knicks going. They're down by 6. Manning. Ewing lost the rebound but was fouled, and Smith ends up on someone's lap. Roberts called for the foul.
Manning with a lot of slick maneuvering here, gets the shot up, but he doesn't seem to know where the basket is after all that movement. Ewing gets rattled from behind and fouled. And Charles Smith ends up on cameraman Dom Spotter's lap on a milk carton as well. Yes. Where else would he rather be?
Stanley Roberts called for his 4th foul, and he's replaced. John Williams is back. So we resume the matchup of Williams against Ewing. John Williams goes about 6'9". Vandeweghe with the steal. Here's Harper. Stopped by Blackman. Shot clock at 8. Manning with another driving hook. And Oakley with the rebound. Good play by Williams. Jackson from Manning. Beautifully set up. Mark Jackson with the assist. That is his 4th of the game. Clippers by 8. Blackman's shot was stopped by Harper. And here's Harper.
That's an example of the excitement Ron Harper can bring to a game. His defensive presence on that play, and then the stuff at the other end.
And here are the Clippers following the lead as Blackman pops one. He is way off. And Smith was fouled, but Clippers will turn that half-court trap on and off. It has been successful against the Knicks. That began Christmas night in Chicago with the Bulls having success against the Knicks in the third quarter. We saw Milwaukee do it. We saw Indiana, and now L.A.
The other end, Harper moments ago with that slam dunk after making the block on Blackman's shot attempt. Meanwhile, at this end, Charles Smith now at the line. Charles working very hard, finding himself at the foul line now.
Smith, 81% free throw shooter. Knicks 14 of 18 from the foul line today. Clippers 53, the Knicks 45. Jan of defense. Jackson and Harper in the backcourt. Manning, Williams, Vandeweghe up front. Williams with the step. Wild shot, try to finger roll. Harper with another rebound. And Ewing gets to it. It'll be Knick ball. Last touch by Harper. Took another shot. He was down at the other end of the first half.
Harper, one of those guards in the NBA at 6'6", who does a lot of rebounding, finds himself around the basket a lot, and he gets KO'd as Ewing tries to get free of him. Ewing certainly knows that feeling. He's taken a lot of shots lately himself.
Ron Harper, the Clippers' third leading rebounder behind Ken Norman and Danny Manning. And Harper leading the way today. He has 9 rebounds.
And their other guard, Mark Jackson, is the 4th leading rebounder on this team. Mark's been averaging a shade over 5 a game.
And Grant will replace Ron Harper, who is averaging 20 points, 6.5 rebounds, just under 5 assists. He has made it back from reconstructive knee surgery. Still not back to the slashing drives on a regular basis, but will go to the driving shot from time to time, which has been encouraged by Coach Larry Brown. Smith through the foul, putting the move on Vandeweghe. Vandeweghe committing his 4th, and Smith back to the line. Ken Norman will replace Kiki Vandeweghe. Kiki leaves with 7 points. John, I thought it was very appropriate, as I enjoyed the introductions of the Legends team at halftime. Sharp Electronics Knicks Legends game coming up, following the Knicks and the Clippers marking the 20th anniversary, or as they say in the press notes, the gala 20th anniversary celebration of the 73 NBA championship squad. And I thought it was fitting that the last 3 players on the Knicks squad introduced were Dave DeBusschere, you, and Earl Monroe.
Carefully orchestrated.
Oh, very, very appropriate.
Well, that was my first year with the Knicks, Marv, that second championship, and there's a lot of meaning attached today, you know.
It will be Clipper ball. And Gary Grant now departs. So Ron Harper is all right. Checks back in. 5.5 remaining in the third quarter. It has not been one of the thrillers of the season. Clippers lead 53-46. And the foul against the Knicks. It's on John Starks, who's just returned.
Clippers are doing a good job under Larry Brown on the boards, and they're controlling the pace of the game.
Larry Brown making a return to his hometown, and I'm told that he was seen taking part as Williams draws the foul. Larry taking part in the New Year's midnight run in Central Park. I understand the Electronic Wizard, our producer Howie Singer, also on hand, kind of watching the rest of the pack from behind.
I don't know. Howie's committed himself to physical rehabilitation, Marv.
Rehabilitation.
He's very proud of his running these days. So he made a 35-minute jaunt. I believe that was a 5-mile run. And if you do some quick dividing, it's pretty impressive, I must say.
Clippers 55 and the Knicks 46. Ewing line. Run down by Anthony. Knicks have a new 24.
3 Clippers converge on Ewing when he gets the ball.
They continue the double team. Anthony. So the Clippers get it back.
Pat Riley undoubtedly might turn to Hubert Davis, the most reliable jump shooter he seems to have today.
Yes, Rolando Blackman 2 for 11. Greg Anthony 1 for 5. John Starks is 1 of 3. Hubert Davis at 2 of 4, then 4 of 4 from the line for 8 points. He stepped out. The Knicks following up a dreadful first half. They had 18 points in the first quarter, 19 in the second. And no signs of improving on that here in the third. Only 46 points with 4:20 remaining third quarter. Smith is fouled. Jackson called for the foul. That's 2 on Mark. Clippers over the limit early once again, and now Jackson will sit down. He leaves with 10 points.
Charles Smith has a special feeling for this game because he's playing against his former team. And when the Knicks were in Los Angeles on November 19th, Charles was not a starter. He was not playing that much. In fact, in that game, he only played 13 minutes, had no numbers of significance, no impact, really. And you know he wants to prove to the Clippers that they should be missing him.
Smith off the rebound. Mason on the follow. Through an air ball. And a technical foul has been called. It's on Mason.
Well, Mason undoubtedly thought he was fouled and expressed those feelings to the official, and it cost him.
Ron Harper shooting the technical. He's 3 of 4 from the line. All right, here's another look at that play that upset Mason.
Mason complaining to the official, and that cost him a technical foul.
Timeout has been called. We'll be right back. 10 points. And the last time that Mark played here at Madison Square Garden, the 9th of September, not a familiar uniform, in an all-star benefit game, the Wheelchair Classic. And then chatting with Charles Smith, who at the time was still a member of the Los Angeles Clippers, although the trade rumors were hot and heavy. And then the trade was made just days after. Doc Rivers, Charles Smith coming over to the Knicks in the 3-player deal. Stanley Roberts also involved. Clippers with a 56-47 lead. 3:45 remaining in the third quarter. Marv Albert, John Andres, Al Troutwick, Earl Monroe for Walt Frazier from the Garden. And the poor Knicks shooting continues.
They shared the ball. They passed it around. They got it to Ewing. Banged 3 men on him. He had to give it up, but no good outside shooting. The perimeter problem has come roaring back today. They're not getting outside shooting.
Horrendous shooting as I check the stat sheet. Harper giving the Clippers a 58-47 lead. Now the Knicks have hit 15 of 57 for 26%. Mason, Anthony Mason working for the position. Clippers 58, the Knicks 49. That's the first Knick field goal in 4 minutes and 50 seconds. Williams going short. And here comes Anthony, getting it down to Smith. Charles Smith draws the foul. And here comes Hubert Davis. Davis over at the scorer's table. He'll be waved on following the first free throw. Number 4 committed by Ron Harper. Charles Smith spending much time at the free throw line. He's 5 out of 7 from the line.
Boy, one thing about Charles, when he starts his drive inside the foul line, he's either going to get the basket or take somebody with him and draw the foul. And that's what he is so good at.
12 points for Smith. Now Mark Jackson checks back in. Well, apparently, Pat Riley holding back on the Hubert Davis substitution. Might be going to a 3-guard offense. Mason with the rebound. In traffic. Gets it out of the 3-second lane. Ewing, yes.
For once, he was able to spring free of people around him.
The Clipper lead is now down to 6. They led by as many as 11. 2:20 remaining, third quarter. Manning saving the errant pass. Shot clock at 5. Down to 3. Forced it, hit, and drew the foul. What a shot by Danny Manning with the shot clock running down.
Well, Danny made a very tough shot, but his feet were shuffling like crazy, Marv. You'll see at the end of this move now, he moved those feet a bit before he gets that shot up. He certainly earned a tough 2 points and maybe a third. Another angle on Danny Manning banging with Mason. A lot of movement going on there.
A technical foul was called on Larry Brown, who apparently had something to say to one of the officials. He is still going at it with Jack Madden. Starks hit the tee. And now Manning will go to the line, looking to complete the 3-point play. Larry Brown out of Long Beach, Long Island, ended his 3.5-year association in San Antonio last January. San Antonio owner Red McComb said that Larry resigned. Larry Brown said he was fired, and then he signed on with the Clippers in early February, the day before the All-Star break, and did a terrific job in turning the Clippers around. They went 23-12 despite a difficult schedule after Brown took over. Patrick Ewing showing some signs. Clippers now lead 61-55.
Well, the Knicks are generating some momentum now for the first time in this game.
Ewing has 15. He is 6 of 18 from the field. Minute and a half remaining, third quarter. Here's Norman. Jackson for 3. Rebound Ewing. Knicks going to the 3-guard alignment with Davis in there. Davis, yes. Hubert Davis has been a factor this afternoon. He's cut it down to 4. Jackson. Williams. Manning recovers. Rebound Norman. Clippers hanging in off the boards. Mason and Williams had some words.
Williams seemed to have a bigger problem than Mason did.
Mason already has a technical foul, so should a double technical be called here, Mason will be out. Let's see. Madden over to the official scorers table. He could call a double personal also, or could call nothing.
That was Ewing on the block attempt by Norman. And then the little...
It is a double technical. And that means Mason is through. So Jack Madden calling the double technical. No shots taken, but it serves to eject Anthony Mason because he was called for a technical earlier. And Charles Smith will come on, replacing Mason.
Another look at that play now. Mason and Williams start doing some pushing. When you consider all that goes on under the basket, Marv, you've got to note that we have to note that the officials are really calling them tight now.
Anthony Mason, 9 points, 10 rebounds. His loss may be felt. Jackson with that steal. Jackson stopped, but it'll count. Goaltending the call.
Bad play by Starks. That ball was out of Jackson's hands. He's not a 7-foot guy. John Starks has to know that's a macho play that's just untimely.
Clippers by 8. 35 seconds remaining in this third quarter. Clippers again go to the pressure, and a foul is called. It's on Jackson. That's his third.
John Starks enjoying the call, trying to make sure that his clapping hand is noted by Mark Jackson.
Substitution for the Clippers. Larry Brown sending Jaren Jackson into the game for the first time. 3-year man out of Georgetown. 32 seconds remaining in this third quarter. The Clippers have Manning, Williams, and Jaren Jackson up front. Grant and Mark Jackson at the guard. Clippers lead by 6. Clippers using the clock. 10 on the 24, 17 remaining in the third quarter. John Williams off a high dribble, able to drive and easily penetrated. And here's pressure on Anthony. Pressure has bothered the Knicks once again. Final seconds. Starks going all the way. Grant beating the Knicks down court, but could not hit. Pat Riley cannot be happy about that kind of transition and cannot be pleased about John Williams going uncontested and hitting on that drive.
Well, at the end of 3, the Knicks are getting closer, and the action seems to be building here. Anthony Mason and John Williams, however, got into a little tussle before and exchanged some words. 2 technicals were called, and Mason is out of the game right now. Back on November 19th, we also had some sparks flying. Greg Anthony went in for a shot. John Williams KO'd him, and that ignited feelings. A lot of pushing. Charles Oakley. Mason came in to dispose of Williams, and the emotions were flying in L.A.
That a game won by the Clippers, 101-91. Knicks had won 12 straight against the Los Angeles Clippers prior to that victory at the Sports Arena in Los Angeles. Fourth quarter is underway. Clippers have led by 11. They now lead 67-61, and the Knicks stay with the 3 guards, Davis, Starks, and Anthony, along with Smith and Ewing. Here is Ewing. Patrick Ewing, 6 for 19.
Patrick against Stanley Roberts could be taking him inside and getting him in foul trouble, which is automatic, it seems, for Roberts.
Here's Grant. Ewing with the rebound. Well, Roberts does have 4. Starks played by Jackson. They double up on Ewing. Davis passed on the shot. Anthony to the left hand. Nicely done by Greg Anthony. Clippers lead by 4. 1 minute gone by in the fourth quarter. Chant of defense from the capacity crowd here at Madison Square Garden. Manning. Starks with the rebound. Pulling away from Grant. Putting the move on Jackson. Davis. Yes. It's down to a 2-point Clipper lead. So Hubert Davis has hit his last 2 jump shots. He has 12 points. Jaren Jackson is bottled up. Smith with the ball.
The whole picture's changed now.
Starks is open for 3. And Mark Jackson with the rebound. Grant shooting. Clippers have gone cold. Ewing. It's deflected by the Clippers. Last touch by Jaren Jackson.
As the drama builds, you know Mark Jackson wants that ball. This is the time of a game when he wants to take it over. It'll be interesting to see if he can.
Ron Harper replacing Jaren Jackson. 2 minutes gone by in the fourth quarter. Game picking up here. Knicks in the midst of a good run. Shot clock down to 3. Ewing could handle it. Has to fire it up. Just did beat the 24-second buzzer. Harper lost it. Knicks got a break. Harper battling with Oakley, who just checked in. Could hang on, so the Knicks get it back with a new 24 posted. Knicks stay with the 3 guards, Anthony, Starks, and Davis. Anthony, oh, what a shot! Yes, and it counts. And here we go again.
Well, I don't know if that was Roberts or not, but somebody put their hands on the chest of a Knicks player in aggressive fashion.
And a technical foul has been indicated. Double technical on Charles Oakley and Stanley Roberts, and the announcement that they have both been ejected. Well, this is no question reaction.
The feeling, Marv, it is reaction to the aggressive style of play of late and this season.
Well, now they correct it. No ejection, just a double technical. So let us erase that reaction.
Well, nevertheless, the technical fouls were called, and the officials are calling it tighter. And there's going to be less feelings for throwing players out or not. The officials will do it. This is a good angle on a Greg Anthony move. Greg playing catch with Patrick Ewing. Touchdown the middle. Tough pass to catch, and he did. Not only that, but he makes a very difficult shot. It's so hard making a shot. You look at Anthony react to that at the yelling his enthusiastic response, and then the action started with the pushing. So hard to make a shot like that when you're going away from the basket, as Anthony's body was.
The Knicks and the Clippers are tied at 67. 2.5 gone by in the fourth quarter. Manning, Clippers by 2. Knicks, though, have come from an 11-point deficit. Wednesday night at Indiana, they came back from a 17-point deficit. Ewing from deep. And Harper moving to the front court, but met by the double team.
Well, if you did a shot chart on Patrick Ewing's shot attempts in the last several games, Ron Harper on that move inside, did I catch that, Mark?
Mark Jackson,
excuse me. I was focusing on Ewing's shot chart. I mean, it's mostly jump shots for him these days.
Offensive foul on Starks. That's 3 on Starks.
John Starks putting that head down, determined to get to the basket. And Ron Harper does what Starks so often does, draws that offensive foul by staying there.
Now Charles Smith for Charles Oakley. Charles with only 1 point, 9 rebounds. Mark Jackson guarded by Greg Anthony. Smith on Manning. And Manning could handle that pass. Thrown a little too hard by Jackson. Clippers by 4 with 8:10 remaining in this fourth quarter. Here's Smith. Hit by Manning. Danny Manning committing his third. Ken Norman returning. Replaces John Williams. Williams leads with 10 points. Charles Smith at the free throw line. And he's been off. He is now 6 for 10 from the foul line.
In the last 5 games, Charles has lost the touch, shooting at shade under 40%. At the foul line, though, he's been quite steady, 85% in his last 8 games.
The Clippers lead the Knicks 71-68. Knicks shooting only 33% for the game, 23 of 69. And Manning tips it home.
No attempt by the Knicks to get in his way.
Clippers by 5 and a foul on Grant. Anthony flipping the ball at Grant, which I don't think is necessarily appreciated. Kind of moves that make Greg so well loved around the NBA.
Yes, Anthony tripped up by Grant, who's guarding him, and Grant then catches the ball, holds it for a while, and takes it all in.
7.5 remaining in the game. Clippers lead by 5. Here's Ewing, nicely done. Patrick Ewing has 17.
See what a monster he is when he rolls to the hoop.
Here's Manning. Anthony. He cuts it to 1.
It's so funny now to see Anthony make a basket and Ewing go out of his way to slap his hand on the way back up court. Anthony has earned that status with Patrick Ewing after a long time.
Clippers lead 73-72. Timeout call.
Playing out for his team and getting good attention, I must say. Our Old Spice leaders show the Knicks all-time assist leaders. Walt Clyde Frazier, #1, and Mark Jackson currently running the Clippers attack right behind him. And a lot of other familiar names, McGuire, Braun, and Guerin to follow. Greg Anthony doing the wise thing moments ago. Ewing with great position down low on Danny Manning, who surrenders space, and in so doing allows Patrick Ewing to take all he wanted as he rolled in for 2. That's one thing, Marv, you will not see in the Legends game. Guys giving up space like Danny Manning just did. Be body on body, boxing out. All the fundamentals will be on display.
And I
hope you stick around.
Certainly will. 6:54 remaining of the game. Clippers with the ball. They lead by 1. Manning drawing the double team, and it led to the travel. Pat Riley now with Anthony, Starks, and Davis as the 3-guard alignment, along with Ewing and Smith. Anthony Mason was ejected earlier this fourth quarter after picking up a second technical foul. Shot clock at 7. And Anthony hit on a reach-in. Called on Grant. That's 3 on Grant, and the Clippers with their 4th team foul. Knicks also have 4. The Knicks have won their last 6 straight against the Clippers here at Madison Square Garden, trying to make it a home record of 14-1. Starks with the open shot. And the Knicks lead 74 We come up on 6 minutes remaining in the fourth. Manning.
Unbelievable. Nobody in front of Manning. It's like he's not being guarded. He's the leading scorer on this team, and he's 6'10".
Clippers by 1. Knicks a moment ago taking the lead for the first time since back in the first quarter. Ewing called for the charge. It won't count. That's 4 on Ewing.
This hurts because Ewing gets up a very tough shot. He rolls to the basket. That's his thing now. He feels he can do it. But he bangs into the defensive area, and they have space they own as well.
John Williams returning to the Clippers. Leg block call. Clippers get a new 24. Correction. The Knicks do not have any team fouls. Clippers have 4. The Knicks do not have any. So once again, the Clippers are in the early foul trouble that could cost them here down the stretch. Starks with the rebound.
Ewing comes up hurting the arm as he extended. Gee, it reminded me of the Doc Rivers injury.
Davis off the head fake. And Manning gets to the rebound. Doc Rivers, one-time Clipper, incidentally, is back in uniform, available, coming off the shoulder problem. Missed the last 2 games, but has not played here this afternoon. Norman battling for position. A beautiful move. And it gives the Clippers a 77-74 lead.
Ewing still favoring that right shoulder that he seemed to injure in a rebounding situation a moment ago.
Knicks call for time with 4:47 remaining in the game. Rick will have his high school report. That's tonight, half-hour edition of the Sports Desk at 11 o'clock.
Very few big men have the kind of hands that Danny Manning shows on this play. Grasps the ball quickly, gets it up and in with a beautiful touch. And that gives the Clippers a cushion of 3 points. 36 and 8/10 seconds left. A new way to express yourself. Yes. Mark Jackson and Danny Manning grabbing each other's head.
Manning has 16 points. Jackson with 14. For Manning, 14 of his 16 coming in the second half. Knicks do have 2 and a 20 remaining. And the Clippers with 2 timeouts left. The Knicks are down by 3 with 36 and 8/10 seconds to go. Fourth quarter. Hubert Davis checking back in. Harper with the steal. And Harper lost it. Back come the Knicks. There's Smith taking it inside. Anthony is fouled. Will it count? Let's see. No, it won't. What a shot, though, by Greg Anthony. Manning on the foul. But the ruling is that the basket will not count. Well, after the shot.
Harper makes a bad play by forcing that shot, giving the Knicks a chance. Smith on the soft touch misses. Anthony makes an amazing recovery and basket.
Anthony now 2 out of 4 from the line. He's cut into a 2-point lead. Timeout called by Pat Riley. That foul on Manning was his 5th. We're down to 23 seconds remaining in this fourth quarter.
Another look at this now. Greg Anthony with an amazing recovery, rebound, and then shot off the backboard and in, but the official ruled the foul took place before that ball went in the hole. Clippers now want Greg Anthony to do a little thinking so he doesn't bring his team 1 point closer.
Three seconds remaining in this fourth quarter. The Knicks with 2 timeouts remaining. Clippers with 2. And there are a number of ways the Knicks can play this. Now, Anthony could miss this on purpose, or you take a chance with time remaining and give some fouls. Well, he hits it. Clippers now lead by 1. Clippers spread it out on a bad pass. Will give the ball back to the Knicks. Mark Jackson with the intended pass for Gary Grant. And they turn it over. Timeout is called. It will be Nick Ball with a chance to take the lead when we come back.
Rusty Staub for Budweiser.
Oddly enough, the Knicks get a break now. Delivered to them from their former playmaker and man of pressure, Mark Jackson, throwing the ball away. 18 and 10 seconds left. The Knicks now in position to take this game and put it in their direction. Mark on that last sequence throws that ball away. Grant can't control it, and all of a sudden it turns around. How about Greg Anthony's clutch foul shooting again? As he did in Indiana the other night by giving his team a 4-point lead with 2 clutch fouls in the closing seconds.
So it has come down to 18 and 2/10 seconds remaining in the game. Clippers 84, the Knicks 83. Knicks have 1 timeout left. Clippers have 2 remaining. Starks for Ewing, and he's stripped. Foul given by Ewing. Heads up play, though, by Ewing to give that foul. Ewing thought he was fouled. But the Knicks will put the Clippers at the line.
John Williams giving room. And then the good hands knocking that ball away from Ewing. Big play by him. He's had the job of containing Patrick. He's done a tremendous job considering he is not really an NBA center.
So Ron Harper to the foul line. He's 4 out of 5 from the line, a 78% free throw shooter. Knicks do have 1 timeout left. It is now a 2-point Clipper lead. So if he hits this one, the Knicks will be faced with setting up for a 3 to tie the game. And the Knicks call for timeout. That is their final timeout. The Clippers lead 86-83, 11 seconds left in regulation.
The U.S. Postal Service will pick up.
With 11 and 1/10 to go, the Clippers now have what they need. They have a 3-point lead. The Knicks have to talk in terms of 3-point shooting now, no question about it. John Williams does almost the impossible. Leans in and succeeds. Stops Ewing. Knocks that ball away. No foul called. Now we talk about long shooting that the Knicks need. It brings up our AT&T long distance shooting numbers for today. The Clippers with 1 out of 7. The Knicks 0 for 3. Who is going to get the shot? And how is it going to get to him? John Starks is the man for the Knicks. He has made 20 this year, 20 of 63.
Knicks hit 4 out of 5 from downtown Wednesday against Indiana. Clippers reminded, do not foul. Play the Knicks tight, but you do not want to foul for a potential 4-point play. Rolando Blackman, who was sat for a long time, has checked in. They had 1 delay of game to give. And the Clippers gave it right there. You saw Manning move up on Blackman so the Clippers could take a look at the alignment.
Hubert Davis also in the picture.
10 seconds remaining. Knicks need a 3 to tie. Here's Blackman firing and hitting. He banked it home. The game is tied at 86. Timeout called by the Clippers. And Blackman claims that he was fouled, but no call is made.
Notice Blackman's demeanor. Boy, that could have been a foul call. Looking at it on television anyway, he was under a lot of pressure.
Rolando Blackman, with only his 10th three-pointer of the season, He's 10 of 23, just a shade over 40%. Unleashing under pressure and going glass.
This is amazing because Rolando has been out of the picture in the second half for the Knicks. He came off the bench with cold hands. Everybody surrounding him with emotion, but Rolando cool as ever.
Think of it this way, John. Had he been properly warmed up, he would not have had to use the glass.
I never thought of that.
So the game is tied at 86. The Clippers will have it with 2 9/10 seconds remaining. The Clippers do have 1 timeout left. The Knicks do not have any.
Looked like the play was going to Starks in the deep corner. He was setting up, but he couldn't get there. The ball, rather, couldn't get to him, and Rolando appeared top of the circle. Wow.
Well, a game that was not particularly stimulating for the first half picked up a bit in the third quarter, and a wild finish. Kiki Vandeweghe has checked back in. He hit a 3 earlier. John Williams will inbound at center court, being defended by Patrick Ewing.
No foul. No foul by the Knicks.
Both teams are over the limit. All right, here's Williams for Jackson. Jackson. We go to overtime. Well, if Mark Jackson were writing the script, he would have scored to beat the Knicks here at Madison Square Garden. Instead, we go to a 5-minute overtime. The Knicks and the Clippers are tied at 86.
We have an overtime right now in this game, and Mark Jackson had the chance to put it away and really wear a smile. No way Anthony was going to foul him. Created a little pressure on Mark. Mark had the clear shot to the basket. You can even read Wilson on that ball. What a soft touch, but in and out, and his old teammate and former adversary at Georgetown, Patrick Ewing, was there to scoop it up.
Stanley Roberts, Patrick Ewing on the opening tip. 5-minute overtime underway. And the Clippers control the tap. It's 0-2 in overtime this season.
Last overtime the Knicks had in Milwaukee, the Knicks scored 2 points.
Ron Harper getting the Clippers off to the 2-point lead. Yes, that was last Saturday night. Knicks going 1 of 9 from the field to lose to the Bucks. The other overtime loss to Charlotte for the only home defeat. Ewing putting the move on Roberts. Roberts is playing with 5 personals.
He's proud to be in an overtime with 5. He's usually out with 5. Well, after he gets the 5th, he's usually gone quickly.
Knicks earlier losing Anthony Mason, who picked up 2 technical fouls. Roberts, bad shot. And back comes Starks.
It's going with the small lineup now with Hubert Davis on the court.
Go with the 3 guards. Anthony, Davis, Starks. Nice feed from Davis. Smith fouled. And if it's Roberts, it's number 6. It is. Stanley Roberts is fouled out. He departs with 8 points and 4 rebounds. John Williams will check in. John Williams has done a nice job against Patrick Ewing.
Roberts has such a pleasant personality. He congratulates and hugs each of his teammates as he leaves the court. Most unusual.
Ewing facing up on Williams. The game is tied at 88. 20 points for Ewing, along with 17 rebounds. 3.5 remaining in overtime. Jackson Nice shot by Mark Jackson. He has 16. Clippers lead 90-88. Been a solid game for Mark Jackson. Jackson switching off to Davis. Starks penetrates and is fouled from behind by Norman.
Nice move by John, picking his way through. Looked at the end of the move, though, that he wanted to slam dunk. They got him from behind.
Charles Oakley back in, replacing Charles Smith, with 14. Knicks shooting 71% from the line. They're now 30 of 42. Starks has hit 5 out of 6. Clippers with a 1-point lead. Hoffer being played by Davis. Blackman getting set to check in. Williams. Oh, nice shot. He had the baseline closed by Ewing, but was able to pull up and hit. He now has 12 points. 3-point Clipper advantage. 2.5 remaining in overtime. Ewing. Yes. Ewing from Starks to move the Knicks within 1.
Ewing can't get down low, but he keeps moving and ends up with jump shot opportunities. Fortunately, he's hitting them.
Hoffer flashing down low. He was able to beat Davis. And the Clippers now lead 94-91.
He's so tough. He's 6'6" and mighty fast.
20 for Hoffer. Ewing feeling around for the pressure, then able to spin in. He surprised John Williams.
What a gorgeous move by Ewing.
24 for Ewing. Clippers lead by 1. 1:35 remaining in overtime. Hoffer. Anthony had it knocked away by Norman. And it will be Nick Ball. Here's Rolando Blackman. The man who sent this game into overtime with a 3-point shot with 2 seconds remaining. He banked it home. A desperation shot that was converted. Blackman replacing Davis. Now Grant comes on for Norman. The Knicks trail by 1. Both clubs shooting well here in overtime. 1:15 remaining. Ewing pops it out. Blackman. So Blackman serving up the air ball. Might have been deflected. And they're saying that Hoffer did get a piece of it as 4th block. Jackson rejected and fouled. Charles Oakley, I believe, went over to apologize. Jackson shaken up.
Well, that carton didn't help as Mark looked like he might have fallen on it. Oakley comes out of nowhere. And Jackson fell down hard. Another look at it from behind. Mark rocked. And on the way to the floor, hits that carton the photographer was sitting on.
Jackson is 2 of 2 from the line. 78% free throw shooter.
Best year at the foul line.
Clippers 95. The Knicks 93 with 58 seconds left in overtime.
He's at center stage, and that's what he loves.
So Jackson hits both free throws. Clippers lead by 3. Anthony. Greg Anthony continues to surprise by hitting the jumper. That cuts it to a 1-point lead. 45 seconds to go in overtime. Anthony guarding Jackson. Williams picked up on a switch. Leaves Hoffer open. Blackman. It's very fortunate Ron Harper had the open jump by virtue of the switching by the Knicks. Knicks take a timeout. 27 seconds to go in overtime. The Knicks trail by 1, and they'll have 18 on the shot clock.
Knicks in command now with their timeout. Their opportunity to take the lead, down 1. 27 seconds flat left in this game. Timeouts. Both teams with ample timeouts. Clippers with 3, the Knicks with 2. The Knicks designing their offense now and what they want to do. And the pattern would seem to go to Ewing. But Patrick has to respond quickly because he will face double and triple teaming when he gets the ball.
Strong second half for Ewing after the slow start, and has evolved into a very impressive game for Patrick Ewing. 24 points, 17 rebounds, although he has not shot well. But he did it in the fourth quarter, and he's done it here in overtime. Pat Riley going with Ewing and Smith as his big men. Blackman, Anthony, and Starks on the floor for the Knicks. They have 18 on the 24. They're down by 1, and now down to 25 seconds to go in overtime. Ewing setting the pick. Now Ewing down low. Ewing puts the move on and hits. The Knicks by 1. 97-96. Larry Brown will not call for timeout. Did not want to take a chance inbounding. We're down to 6 seconds. Down to 4. Down to 3. Here's Grant from deep. He hits at the buzzer, and the Clippers have won. Gary Grant with a buzzer basket. The Clippers defeat the Knicks in overtime. Larry Brown, the first off the bench. Gary Grant may not get out of this one alive.
Larry Brown's got to be happy he's not in there.
Oh, that will not be appreciated. And you can hear the reaction from the crowd. This is Mark Jackson, who said before the game there would be no helicopter. But he didn't talk about that move, John.
He said he had some other ways to express happiness, and they were just on display.
Here's a look at that game winner by Grant, who was not the man the Clippers wanted to shoot the ball.
Although before the game, Larry Brown said Gary Grant has been our best player this year. How ironic that he finishes it as he did. The man who nobody seemed to want when the Clippers wanted to talk trade over the last several months of the NBA season this year and last year.
Clippers won it 98-97. They refused to put up the final score up on the board here. It's yet to be posted. Here's another look away from the ball with Mark Jackson enjoying the field goal by Gary Grant, who prior to that shot had hit 2 of 6 from the field. The Clippers sweep the season series from the Knicks. The Knicks drop to 18-10. The Clippers go to 16-12. The Knicks suffer their second home loss. Here at the Garden, they now drop to 13-2.
Yeah, that hurt us. You know, we couldn't shut them down for 2 or 3 possessions. We're always constantly coming from behind, and it's hard to play that way.
Their trapping seemed to bother Patrick inside?
Well, no, it wasn't as much what was happening in the post. It was happening, again, out on the perimeter. At least a half a dozen times in the second quarter, we just did not handle it well. And we didn't shoot the ball well at 30%. So when you shoot 30%, it's going to compound, you know, what they're doing. And once a team continues to run and jump you like that, and you're not shooting the ball, let's stay in it. And they stayed in it.
Also foul shooting in the fourth quarter. Well, I think we missed 12 in the game, 5 in the fourth.
Well, that all adds up to a 1-point loss.
Oh, on Starks' jump shot the time, they scored 81.
Yeah.
It looked like a 3.
It was a 3. It's a judgment call. You know, that's life. Okay, guys.
Oh, John.
And the coaches conference brought to you by the New York Times. Sad Pat Riley wrapping up today's game. The Knicks losers in overtime to the Clippers by 1. Guests who appear on MSG receive a Fendi timepiece uniquely designed in Italy and registered internationally. They are Swiss-made and water-resistant to 165 feet. These fine watches are available at fine jewelry stores, fine department stores, and duty-free locations worldwide. Once again, a tough one for the Knicks to swallow. They lose to the Clippers today in overtime, battling back most of the way this afternoon. The final 98-97. The Knicks now 13-2 at Madison Square.